Welcome back to another episode of Lady Justice Talks, where curiosity meets law. Today, I'm your host, Chantel, and we have a beautiful special guest here today. Please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name is Maleeha. I'm co-president of the Women in Law Association for the 2024-2025 term, and I'm also a third-year Law and Society student with a certificate in anti-racist research and practice.
My goodness, long introduction. So many things you do.
You know me, always out and about.
Out and about. Thank you so much for joining us today. And she's here to talk about a very, very interesting topic that I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners are really interested in, which is volunteerism and humanitarian action. To begin, I know that you introduced yourself as the Women in Law Association president, co-president. How else would you identify as? Maybe a future lawyer, advocate, or something along those labels?
I would hesitate saying advocate because I don't know that I have done enough to deserve that title yet. Hopefully a future lawyer, inshallah. Like, that's what we're striving to do. Mm-hmm. I'm studying LSATs right now, and it's something. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I do hope to continue doing humanitarian work in the future, so I would call myself a humanitarian.
Mm-hmm. So was there a specific defining moment in your life where your service stopped being an extracurricular activity or something to check a box, but rather a part of your identity?
I think when I was younger, so I've been doing Taekwondo for 15 years, or I did it for 15 years. I've quit now. But I had the opportunity to run a summer camp for Taekwondo students. And a lot of the students were special needs, not necessarily just in the sense of special needs like autism or ADHD. Some of them were, but some of them also had special needs given one of them was a leukemia patient, so she was very delicate, and she was must have been 8 years old, very young, leukemia patient, delicate, going through chemo, which is obviously very strenuous. Mm-hmm. And she could not do any other extracurricular activities because no one would take her because they thought she was too much of a liability. Which, I mean, fair, there are a lot of injuries that can happen, but think about the poor girl who just wants to feel normal and do something. It's not like she was doing, heavy performance taekwondo or whatnot. Yeah. But we just had people from a variety of backgrounds. There was another fella who had a foot deformity who, again, you would not think that taekwondo was the sport for him, but the taekwondo dojang I was in made space for all of these people. So when I got the opportunity to run the summer camp, I was blessed with not only the opportunity to teach Taekwondo, but to make summer programming for the rest of the camp, because we didn't just do Taekwondo. We did games, outdoor activity, whatnot. And it was me and another girl running this entire camp. My Taekwondo master was kind of there just as the adult. I must have been I want to say 16, 17 at the time.
Oh my, and you're running all of that?
Yeah, so obviously the cost and stuff I didn't have to worry about, but all the programming was done by us. So one of the defining moments I think for me was just that entirety of the experience, but specifically what stood out is one of the activities I gave for them in their downtime was, making bracelets. And I did it initially for the girls, but if anyone works with younger boys, they know that younger boys love to join in no matter what the craft is. I think the toxic masculinity aspect hasn't hit them yet, so they just love partaking in the crafts and whatnot. Obviously, they won't be as girly or whatnot, but they do, we were making bracelets and I was teaching all of them. So at one point, I was making bracelets for all of them, and then they were like, yo, do you need help, Maleeha? Because you're making literally 20 bracelets a day. Oh. And so I was like, okay, I'll teach the older ones, and then the younger ones wanted to join in, but obviously they couldn't do the complicated string bracelets. So one of the kids brought in rainbow loom,
Oh, I love rainbow loom. Oh my god, used to have a big container of just all the looms. Oh my goodness.
And I remember with this rainbow loom, the mother came up to me after the class and was so excited that her son, who was the one who brought the rainbow loom, has ADHD, like to a severe extent where he does not focus much, do one thing for one time, very difficult to just stay put kind of thing, like classic ADHD in a young boy. And she was so excited that he had found an activity where he would actually sit and do something for so long. And I was just internally thinking, like, you know, like that's not too much, you know, like I didn't internalize the mom's comment at the time. But eventually at the end of the week and last day of camp, that kid, his name was James, he came and he gave me a bracelet. And it was gold rainbow loom, and then it had a little, it was a W, it was a W bead, but he thought it was an M because W upside down is an M. So it was, and it was a tiny bracelet, like when I wear it, like, and I still have it, I still wear it sometimes.
It like leaves a mark?
Yeah, it was very tight, because I think he made it for a kid size, and
Aww.
I'm obviously not kid sized. So, but he came up to me and he gave me this bracelet and he was like, this is for you, Maleeha, because you're a winner and winners get gold.
Ooh, and W for winner. Oh.
I don't think he was thinking that far, but you know,
Yeah.
like, and it was just so touching to know that I had impacted him that much to the extent that he had gone out of his way to make a bracelet for me. And I know it seems like a small thing, but if you had known this kid, he would never do something for long, for one thing. To know that he put in that time to make me a bracelet.
Yeah,
you
to
know?
see like your effort go into action,
right?
seeing the
like,
effects of it.
It genuinely was life-changing. Like,
Aww.
I think of that moment all the time. I still have the bracelet. I was home, like I live in residence, but I was home for the weekend and I saw my bracelet. I don't bring it to residence. I'm scared I'm gonna lose it here.
Aww.
But it's still there. I can't wear it still because it's still a little bit tight, but I do still keep it. And so I think from then on, not only did my love for working with kids like bloom, but just my love for working with kids who don't necessarily have the same advantages everyone does, because a lot of those kids were not treated the same as any other kid because of their individual circumstances, and seeing them allowed to feel normal and like a kid was so heartwarming for me. It genuinely fulfilled something inside of me.
That's so sweet. Shout out James.
Yeah, shout out James.
W. James.
Oh man, no, I have so many kids. I still remember all their names, and that must have been like, you know, like, damn, how old am I? Like 5 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
No, like Lily is the one with leukemia, and Kale had the foot deformity, and then Lily had a twin brother, Eric. Like, I know all their names still. I still remember all of them.
That must mean that it really like was a defining moment for you.
No, definitely. And I think even when I feel down and I'm like, what am I doing? I remember that even in the tiniest way, I have impacted one of those kids' lives, you know? And so that brings me joy to continue doing whatever I do.
That's so sweet. And he used your the gold loom on you, the gold
right?
ring. That means
the fancy ones,
the fancy
you know?
ones.
If you did rainbow loom, you know.
You know. It only came in a 300 pack. And it was like mixed in, so he had to individually. Oh my goodness.
And it was entirely gold too.
Entirely gold. That means he picked out all the gold ones in the metallic pack.
Not to flex or anything.
Not to flex. He probably used the C clip as well. That's the strongest clip, babe.
You know your rainbow loom.
I know my rainbow. I still got my container. Can you tell? I do. So I know you have like volunteerism experience and humanitarian action experience as well. Many people see volunteerism as something that's temporary or like performative. How do you ensure like you separate your humanitarian leadership from just like checking a box and make sure like your humanitarian action is focused on justice rather than perceptions of others?
I think it ultimately comes down to intentions. Like, as long as you yourself are happy with the intentions you're bringing into that day, what people say does not really matter. Like, I know they're going to say something. They're going to say something no matter what. If you do humanitarian work in Canada, they're going to be like, well, why aren't you doing it for the less fortunate elsewhere? If you do it for the less fortunate elsewhere, they're like, what about the kids in Canada?
Everyone has something to say.
Everyone always has something to say. So I think it comes down to fulfilling the intentions that you made for yourself, and whether or not you end up being quote unquote successful, if you have even a small impact on someone's life, it truly not only like changes their life. I don't think I would be so bold to say I've changed someone's life, but it changed my own life. So like I went to Bosnia. That's the reason for the episode. I went to Bosnia with Islamic Relief this past summer to do humanitarian work. And part of what we did was ran a summer camp for orphans there. And we also made care packages for the community and whatnot. But that summer camp was really the main reason we were going there. And it was a 4-day summer camp, and we did months of prep. We made all the activities, whatnot. And we get there, and I think you don't realize how different of an experience it's going to be. Like, I have run summer camps before, right? Like, obviously the Taekwondo one. I used to do camp counseling at, like, a farm near Uxbridge. Like, I did a bunch of, like, summer camps. But it's truly different when you realize the situation that a lot of these kids are in. And, no, I was truly fortunate to have the experience to go there, and I was truly doing it for myself. Like, I know we were there with Islamic Relief, so I obviously had to fulfill criteria and whatnot, and some people were doing it for different reasons. I had people there who wanted to be teachers, or there were, like, you know, like mothers there whose kids had grown up and they were volunteering there with the kids, and they were really good with the kids. You know, mothers are another level. Like, like she was, she was really good. But for me, it was more so I wanted to come out changed, and I know that I myself feel most fulfilled through that work. And so it didn't really matter to me whether it was considered performative or not, because ultimately I was there for myself. I wasn't there for someone else. I wasn't there to fulfill something else. I was there to come out as a better person. And I think if anyone has the intention of going into any activity, you could be volunteering in a local soup kitchen, you could be making, like, you know, like bags for the homeless or whatnot, like any sort of volunteer activity, any sort of volunteer humanitarian work, as long as you have the right intentions, you know you're doing this for yourself primarily. I think doing it for other people can become tricky, but you always become more changed when you focus on your own intentions.
Yeah, exactly. I think, like, the idea of it being performative or temporary is really just defined by your intention of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if your idea of going into it is to change people, is rooted in justice, then I believe that intention will turn into action, right?
Yeah.
What was your first, like, volunteering experience in general? Like, what would you define as your first volunteering experience?
Whoa. Okay. It must have been Taekwondo of some sort. I've been doing, like, Taekwondo since I was young, so I used to volunteer with them all the time. I think the first big humanitarian volunteer work would probably be that summer camp. But the first one that I would define as my big humanitarian work was definitely the Bosnia trip, you know? Like, that was life-changing. And I keep saying that, but it was, and I'm going to share more stories as we get to other questions, but it's truly one-of-a-kind experience, and if anyone has the opportunity to do something like that, I would highly recommend it.
Ooh, I'm glad. How did you find that opportunity for you?
I had a friend who did the program a couple years before, and so we were hanging out, and it was at a convention, and this was a Muslim convention because the charity I went through is a Muslim charity. But I'm sure there's the same, like, I know there were people doing, like, Ghana missions and whatnot when I was younger with the eye doctor clinic or medical. I'm sure there's a bunch, but for me particularly, it was at a Muslim convention. I was with my friend, and she was like, oh, I did this a couple years ago. I think you would love it, Maleeha. And so I signed up and, you know, took my shot, and then, you know, alhamdulillah, I got it.
I'm glad. I think that people don't realize that small impacts are still impacts. And I'm glad that, like, you were able to have that base experience and put that into something that you were passionate about as well.
No, there's definitely all over the GTA ways you can do. I'm, like, part of, like, I get the newsletter for volunteer opportunities a lot for different charities, and there's always, like, soup kitchens definitely always take volunteers. There are places that'll, like, make care packages to distribute to the homeless, whether you're distributing them yourself or they distribute them. I know, like, you can make blankets, you can do whatnot. There's always something. You just have to do a little bit of searching, but all over Instagram, at least if you're active on Instagram, there's always some page doing some sort of charity. And even if you can't go in person, I know there's a lot of Zoom activities. When I during COVID, actually, I volunteered with some tutoring company. I forget the name now. But you used to tutor through Zoom for underprivileged kids across the world. So I used to tutor this grade 4 kid in math from the Philippines.
Oh, Philippines representing my people, mabuhay! Sorry, continue.
No, like, and he was the cutest thing, and I remember making my math lessons, and I was like, must have been 14, 15 at that time. So maybe that's my earliest volunteering.
Maybe. Oh my goodness.
But he was the cutest thing, and that was like, I was literally at home. It was COVID, so I literally couldn't go out. So I was at home doing that. It took maybe an hour a week, to be honest. Like, you could choose your hours and whatnot. But that's an easy way to volunteer, and you're still helping out humanitarian-wise. You're fulfilling all the check boxes. You can definitely learn a lot from them as they learn from you. So I think that's a great opportunity for those who don't necessarily have the money or effort or time to do any of the other bigger adventures.
Yeah, like international humanitarian action.
Exactly.
Sorry, when Philippines, Filipino mention. Gotta represent. I'm glad, yeah, honestly, I think that a lot of people can get paralyzed from like the travesties or the injustices that are happening. They feel like helpless, but any action is still action, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm like you said, you find yourself in many humanitarian spaces, but injustice seeps into every space,
yeah.
exactly. So what injustices have you experienced in like the humanitarian spaces that you've been in?
Okay, I have a couple actually. So I'll go with the first one in chronological order. Mm-hmm. So when I first went to Bosnia, the summer camp, the first day, I had 7 kids in my group. There were 3 boys and 4 girls. And the boys really loved football or soccer here, but they loved it. They were going on about Ronaldo. It was the only thing that got them excited. So we were allowed, once we fulfilled all the activities, and they were like learning activities, like science or whatnot. Once we fulfilled all of those, we could do whatever we want with our kids. So we obviously, like the group I was in, we were like, okay, let's take the kids down to the gym to play soccer, because those kids love soccer, right? And they were super hype. And see, I've had concussions before, and I've mentioned in my previous episodes my concussions. I've had a couple concussions.
A couple.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
So,
my new.
So I knew I couldn't play that soccer. I was like, no thank you, something's gonna happen.
I'm good.
So I sat on the side, and mind you, this is like an indoor gym. I'm sitting on the bench on the side, and I'm looking towards like the kids, and then 2 of the girls didn't want to play, so they sat with me. And mind you, in Bosnia, they speak Bosnian, which is another language that is not similar to English. And so I was trying to figure out what they were saying, and a lot of them didn't speak English well. One of the girls could kind of act as a translator for the younger one. So I was trying to figure out what this girl was saying, and she's talking about her brother or something. So I was really focused. And that kid who loved Ronaldo, like the one that was the biggest soccer fan, accidentally kicked a soccer ball into my side of my head.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
With all the dog.
And so I I remember it, and then I remember like my glasses getting dented and feeling dizzy, and then I remember like everything kind of going blurry and voices kind of melding, and then I remember the kids saying, I didn't mean it, which obviously I do. And I tried to say, like, I know it's okay or whatnot, but words didn't come out, and then I got carried to a room and passed out. Yeah.
Oh, girl.
Now, that was actually not the injustice.
Okay,
that
I was about to say.
No, that was not. That was a personal
Experience.
Yeah. But what came after was what exposed the injustice in Bosnia. So when I obviously woke up and I was out of it, it was pretty clear I was concussed. I was like, I couldn't walk straight. I couldn't walk upstairs myself. It was bad.
Oh, no.
I got bad headaches, like whatnot. Like, I think when I got back, I like fell asleep for hours on end. It was like I was really out of it. Anyway, so you would think that they would take me to the hospital. And we specially got medical insurance for the hospital, right? Like international medical insurance or whatnot. But then we talked to some of the local Bosnians, and I guess on the trip before, someone had a medical injury, and they're like, if you go to the hospital, it's going to take hours. And not the Canadian kind of hours, like 3 hours. They were like 8 hours you're going to be there. because, and the reason for the hospital taking that long is because the historical injustices in Bosnia. So I don't know if you're educated on Bosnian Genocide,
No.
which it happened, I actually don't know when it happened. It happened and it was a huge genocide. And after that, they had to rebuild the country, right? After Yugoslavia and whatnot. And I'm not doing history correctly, so no one hold me to the history.
Yeah.
But this is what I know. Basically, after they were rebuilding, in order to satiate all three of the groups that were living, that were previously in disharmony from the genocide, they were all fighting against each other. And now they have to all live in this country. They decided to implement a three-party system in the government, where to get anything passed, all three of the parties have to agree.
Oh,
and again, I might be wrong, but this is what I was told.
yeah.
Just to clarify.
This is not to inform people. This is just in order to understand
exactly
the rest of the
I don't want some Bosnian coming up and be like, Maleeha, you ruined our history. That's not how the government works. But this is my understanding of it. So for anything meaningful to be passed, all three of the parties have to agree. Which, from a bunch of people who just hated each other a couple years ago, is very difficult.
Hard to agree.
Yeah. So when anything institutional tried to get passed, there was lots of delays, lots of backlogs. So hospitals, among other things like schools and whatnot, were underdeveloped and underfunded. And like their institution was not upheld, basically. So a direct cause from that genocide was me being unable to go to the hospital. And like, sure, for me, like I could just like fly back to Canada after and get the healthcare, but for people there, they could not necessarily get the healthcare, which ties in to a story I have.
Ooh,
wow,
that was seamless.
wow,
Look at you.
wow. I'm too good at this.
God, yo, she should be part of the podcast department. Goodness. Okay, continue.
Quit presidency.
Quit presidency. We need you here. Okay, continue.
Basically, there was a girl, and during this, I ended up staying at the camp. They gave me the option not to, but this is not the story. I'm going to just give this prelude to the story. They gave me the option to, like, you know, stay and rest, but I was like, the camp's 4 days. I remember that kid being traumatized. If I don't show up, that kid's going to be traumatized. He's going to be like, I, like, killed someone, you know, like,
oh my God,
whatnot.
yeah.
And he's already, like, an orphan, whatnot, you know? So I was like, okay, I guess I have to show up. And so I showed up the next day, and it was the cutest thing. Everyone else was standing, and I was sitting because I was concussed. And when my kids saw me, the last time they saw me was being carried out because I was concussed. And so when they saw me sitting, they all ran to me and hugged me and patted my head, told me I'm going to be okay, whatnot, right? And then they were all very caring and made sure I was drinking water and was always sitting, and they would
So
grab
sweet.
chairs. They were the most sweet and caring kids I know. Like, genuinely, like, I felt so heartwarmed. I was so glad that I still went, even though I was concussed.
Aww.
But anyways, then later in the week, the last day, we ended up going to some jungle gym thing, you know, like Sky Zone equivalent.
Sick.
Right?
Oh my God.
Except me being concussed, not only could I not participate, but the kids would also refuse to let me participate. And you know, the one time I did participate, like when I tried to, like on one of the bouncy trampoline things, I like tripped and like trapped my leg, and it bruised, like it went purple.
Oh.
So clearly I was not, but anyways, one of the girls decided to accompany me. And she spoke actually great English, and she actually told me she learned English through YouTube.
Sick.
Like, that's
Whoa.
insane work. Her parents didn't speak English like that. She taught herself through YouTube.
How do they do that, man?
Genuinely, and
That's
this is
so
like an
hard.
11-year-old girl. Her name was Sonia.
Shout out Sonia.
Shout out Sonia. Like, for real, like, it genuinely boggled me because everyone was like, wow, she speaks such good English. Taught herself.
Oh my goodness.
Insane. But anyway, so I could carry a conversation with her. And so she was sitting with me, and I guess she didn't want to go on the play set either. Maybe she felt she was too old for it. And so we were sitting, and I want you to picture the scene. Like, we're under the jungle gym kind of like stairs and kind of in the dark, kind of hidden. And we're talking about school and whatnot. And she tells me about what she wants to be. Because obviously I asked, like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up, kind of thing. And she's like, I want to be a doctor. And the reason she wants to be a doctor is multiple reasons. When she was young, her family did not grow up in a lot of wealth because of, obviously, you know, the situation. It was very difficult at the time for many families there. And then her father ended up falling ill, something with the stomach. I don't think she told me what it was. went to the hospital, had surgery. The surgery failed. He ended up having to go back to the hospital to have another surgery, and he died in the surgery.
Oh my goodness.
And so she was left without a father as a directly from that injustice, from that genocide. Like, the lasting impacts are crazy. Like, people don't realize, sure, the genocide was done, people were still dying.
Yeah, it's a constant
It never heals until you confront that reality directly, which the government at that time, like, sure, they acknowledged it and whatnot, but they weren't confronting that their institutions were severely lacking as a result of all of this.
Yeah, acknowledgement can only do so much.
Exactly.
Right?
So she was telling me this, and she was not crying, but I was holding back tears. And they had trained us to not ever cry in front of the kids, and I was really struggling. I'm a huge crier. I cried at the movie Brave, bro.
Oh my god. I did too. It's okay. I cry in everything.
So I'm like holding back my tears, and she could tell. So she's like,
was she reassuring you?
Yeah, comforting me for her father's death. Like,
stop.
You don't understand how,
my goodness.
like, I genuinely, but it was so, and she's describing how she wants to be a doctor, and her mom's still alive, but her mother can't work as well. So income is limited, which is why she was considered an orphan. And Islamically, without your dad, you're kind of considered an orphan because he's the main provider. So her mom's still around, and she was just talking about how much she wished to give her mom a good life and be a doctor and stop things from happening like they did to her dad, and also provide like a luxurious life for her mom who never had that. And she even told me after that, like, she was asking me like all these tips about how to do well in school, and she was telling me about her school rivals and whatnot, and
academic rivals,
everything. Like, and like, I don't know how she was so strong. Like, imagine, like, I'm on the verge of tears, and she's just telling me all this stuff. But she also tells me in the future she wants to be the one to take care of her mom and her younger sister fully, and she hopes that I can be there to see that. And then she proceeded to follow up and told me that I was her biggest inspiration besides her parents.
Oh my goodness.
And mind you, I had known her, oh my god, I'm gonna cry. I had known her for like 3-4 days at the time. And I really tried to bond with those kids and, you know, like, whatnot. And to hear her say that, after all she went through, it's genuinely, like, I cannot fathom, like, at all in my mind what she has went through in her life. Like, you know, she's the eldest daughter too, so helping take care of her mom with her, you know, like, her dad being dead, and then, you know, like, supporting her younger sister who must have been like 5 or 6, whatnot. And she was so enthusiastic, and she was like, I'd love for you to come see me again, Maleeha. You know, she really wanted to stay in touch, but there is a rule that you can't share social medias with the kids because for their safety, you know, like, just in case, you know, there are bad people out there who volunteer. And so I was like, you know, like, and we're both Muslims, so I was like, if God, like, wills it, then we will meet again, you know? And, like, genuinely, like, knowing that all of this directly is from, like, something that happened so far ago, it's affecting people to this point. Like, I don't think you understand, like, every person there had stories like that. Not all of them would share it, and a lot of them were younger, so they couldn't, like, remember all of it. But to have someone share that deep of a story with you and then follow it up with, you're my biggest inspiration, truly, like, broke my heart. And that was, like, I think that was the last day. And after that, when we left to go home, like, they went back to Tuzla, where they were from, and we went to do other stuff in Bosnia. We weren't supposed to cry in front of the kids, and they cried with me. And she ended up bringing her mom to meet me and introduced me as someone who was helping her with her journey to med school. And her mom doesn't speak English. Again, she was a translator. So she was translating back and forth between me and her mom about what we had talked about. And I was, like, talking, like, to her mom directly through her. And then she asked for a picture with me on her mom's phone. And I took a picture with her on my phone so we could remember each other in case we didn't meet. And, like, genuinely seeing injustice permeating that far and affecting people that young, like, it breaks something inside of you.
It does.
And, like, mind you, this is not direct war conflict. Like, this is, like, you know, years after. And this isn't, you know, like, all the starving children out there, whatnot. But there are a lot of kids who continue to be affected by these injustices that people failed to address. You know, like, how many of us knew about, like, the Bosnian War or whatnot, you know, like Yugoslavia? Not a lot of people know about it. Apparently, my mom used to learn about it in the 90s, and she lived in Canada. So I guess they did it back then, but I guess it's not relevant anymore now.
Yeah, we are not educated on international issues in
Exactly.
in Canada. Yeah.
And it's crazy to think that because, you know, like, initiatives like this can clearly change someone's life. You know, like, and I'm, again, not going to be so bold, but in her own words, I was one of her big inspirations. And to think that those 4 days had made us bond so much to that point, I don't know. It genuinely warms my heart and breaks it at the same time. Yeah.
Bro, that, like, low-key made me tear for a little bit. But hey, we're good. That's so beautiful. I'm so glad she had, like, you as an inspiration. Like, honestly, it's scary to see how injustice permeates in every aspect of life, and all we can do is just act on that and you shared such a gripping story. I'm sure that, like, humanitarian work is, like, emotionally draining. It often exposes us to the trauma that these people face, inequality. How have these experiences shaped your emotional resilience, and how will that influence the kind of lawyer you want to become?
I think for me, after that trip, I felt so much more mature. You know, emotionally, like, putting into perspective, truly, like, not that all our problems are small. A lot of us go through a lot of things, but in comparison to what these kids are facing, like, when I was 11, I had issues, like, not myself, like, issues, like, I was facing.
Yeah, we all had our issues.
But it was not to that extent. And I'm so grateful that I was able to live something like that. Not only that, but also meet someone who had persevered through all of that, to know, like, just how little these problems that I affect me in the daily life truly are. Like, you know, sometimes, you know, road rage, you know, my dad will get very upset when he's road raging or whatnot. Like, not super upset. He's a very chill guy, but he will get annoyed, whatnot. And he's like, oh, well, they're going to make me late or whatnot. But in the grand scheme of things, 5-10 minutes late, it's not that deep.
Also, road rage kind of, like, the road brings out the worst.
Yeah, it definitely does. And not to shame anyone for road rage, but I think, like, I no longer get upset about those things. Now, mind you, I do still get upset about stuff. I'm not some magically mature person who came out and was like, yes,
I'm fixed.
Meaning of life.
I am neutral. I am
Yeah,
love.
no, it definitely was not like that. But I feel like I took a lot more of a laid back kind of approach to life. And it also shaped just how much I wanted to do this stuff. You know? As a lawyer, I still don't quite know what type of law I want to do. I vary all the time. You know, something public interest, you know, maybe doing that every day. You know, maybe corporate to get the money. Who knows? Like,
you never know, man.
But I think I do know that I at least want to do humanitarian work throughout my life. Volunteering, paid, whatever it is. I think it's truly shaped me into this person I've become and who I hope to be as a lawyer, you know, like with whatever cases I have. I don't know that I can do it as much with businesses that are unscrupulous and evil, but having that compassion, listening, you know, awareness of how things might affect people, that's how I hope to practice my law.
Yeah, just seeing the effects of, like, injustices.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
And mind you, not all the stories are traumatizing. Like, I shared a traumatizing story because we were talking about injustice, but I'll share another story. So there's a little boy who was in the group, and he was the youngest boy in our group, and his name was Khairuddin, and he was such a cute little boy. Like, he was so small, and he did not speak a word of English, which, like, we had translators, but when you want to talk to them, and when you're trying to talk to them, you have to, like, use words that you hope they know. He did not know any of the words.
Oh, no.
But he was so cute because no matter what you would say, he would thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
So you would be like, oh, how are you doing? Thumbs up. You know, like, oh, are you liking this craft? Thumbs up. You know, like, oh, you did such a good job. Thumbs up. You know?
Wave communication.
Like, right? And, like, low-key, who was killing it. And then one day, we were playing in the gym, and it's a tug-of-war game, right? and he falls and hits his head, like the back, like that, you know? And I run over and I'm like, oh my God,
no.
hi Radine, how are you? Are you okay? And he gives me a thumbs up. And I look at him and I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe it was not that bad. You know, like he thumbs up me and I'm like
That means
forgetting
he's
that he
chill.
doesn't speak like English, so he doesn't know what I'm saying.
Oh, no.
And then later he runs to a translator and he's like, you know, like my head hurts or whatnot. And I'm like, you
Poor
could have
guy.
given a thumbs down or something.
Maybe he only knows thumbs up, man.
He doesn't know what I'm saying, so he was just thumbs upping everything.
Oh my goodness.
And so he was the cutest kid, and mind you, like a lot of the kids made like, so we had like a, you know, like a yearbook kind of thing where they could write messages.
Oh, that's cute.
And then a lot of them made cards for you, whatnot. I should have brought these. That would have been so smart.
That'd be sick.
If anyone wants to see, you know, like ping me on Instagram and I'll
Happily.
send it to you. But he wrote me a card, and his older sister was also in the camp in my group, and she translated it into English with the help of a translator, but he didn't. He wrote it in Bosnian, and then when he gave me the letter, he brought a translator to like translate the letter to me. Very short letter, couple of sentences. And it's like, Maleeha, thank you for putting up with us, or like, you know, like helping us. Don't get hit in the head by soccer balls. Hayrudin. And I was like, and mind you, there's a translator
so goofy.
translating this to me. And I don't think she knows the story. Like, I think she may have vaguely heard, because obviously, you know, word gets around, a girl just
Right.
passed out, whatnot. But she didn't know the story. And so she was like, you know, like smiling awkwardly. And I'm like looking, and he looks so content with himself. He's like,
Serious?
and like, you know, he gave his signature thumbs up, and oh man, he
Aw.
was such a cute kid. Like, he was also the only boy who participated in the crafts, because the other boys were a little older. So I was making like Play-Doh roses with the girls, and his sister was making one, and he looked, and then he pointed and he did thumbs up, and I'm like, he wants to make one.
He wants it. He's
We're
trying to
gonna
get
make
into action.
one. And so all of the girls had like, you know, yellow, pink, red roses. His was blue.
Gorge.
I have a picture and it's like all these, and he's holding his
cute.
little rose.
Can we find a way to edit these on here?
Yeah, I will send the photos
We'll find
to
a way,
the
we'll find a
editor, and
way.
I'll show you guys. But it was so like, oh man. And mind you, I had a special bond with each and every one of those kids. I genuinely can't say I had. Actually, no, I did have a favorite, but I didn't show a favorite. I took time to bond with each and every one. My favorite was only because she really like went above and beyond to care for me as a concussed girl, like as a 10-year-old or something, you know, like.
Oh, sweetheart.
But you're not supposed to have favorites. She was only my favorite internally.
We won't say.
You know, like I didn't show it. I promise I was giving all of them love, you know?
They were loved equally.
Yeah, they were loved equally. Inside my heart, I loved maybe one a little bit more.
But that's okay, because actions precede.
Yeah, actions
Actions
speak
precede.
louder than word. Actions speak louder than everything else.
Yeah.
That's
I like
nowadays,
that. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah. But I love them all. And so I can list their names for you. Like there was Hayrudin, Damir, Emir, Sanya, Esma, and then there was hold on.
Holding.
Hold on.
Holding.
I know her face.
But you don't know her name.
No, I'm gonna remember her name. It's gonna come to me.
Mm.
Is it Amina? Yeah, you don't know.
Yes, it was. Oh, I remember.
It starts.
Yes,
It starts with an E or something like
Mhm.
that, and then there is, the other one.
The other one
The other one.
that
Hold
we
on.
remember.
Yeah. I have them written down. Okay, like
She
let's-
knows.
I know them.
There's a bright light facing her. Okay,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah, hold on.
Mhm.
Like I'm concussed. Let's give me some
She
slack.
multiple concussions. Okay, let's.
But I do. Oh, Janitha's one of them. See, they
Janitha.
came to me,
Mhm.
and I think Amina's the other.
Mhm.
So I know all of them.
Mhm.
And every night I make prayers for them because I love them so much.
Oh,
Like genuinely,
sweetheart.
like I have a long wish to eventually meet them again. But I don't know how realistic that is, given that I would just show up to Bosnia and be like,
Inevitably.
not knowing what they look like because it's gonna be grown up, you know, like.
Yeah. They'll remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
remember.
that's my long wish. But my short-term wish is to wish them happy, healthy, fulfilling, long lives. You know, where they achieve all their dreams, with or without me. Hopefully with me, where at least I visit them once.
Yeah.
But even without me, I'm happy with that.
I hope she becomes a doctor. Praying for
No,
her.
literally, or like some of them wanted to be like professional football players. And, you know, I don't know if Bosnia has that great of a soccer team, but, you know, I guess we'll see. Like, if you see a Demir there, that's the one who kicked me in the head with the soccer ball. So he has a powerful kick. Powerful kick.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there are happy stories too. Like I took so many happy and sad stories from that experience.
Yeah, not everything has to be like just wallowing in the injustices. Like we can find some joy in it.
Exactly.
Like joy in the negativity. As you we mentioned before, where like you're interested in like law as a woman in law, like, and also like from diverse communities. How do you like interpret this idea of privilege and responsibility? Like, do you feel a duty to your communities?
I would say like I definitely have privilege. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the fact that I'm filming a podcast on my spare time is like, you know, privilege in enough. Itself. But I think to think of it as a duty does work for some people, but I more think of it as like, I think there's a difference between duty and privilege. Mm-hmm. I think duty is something you do not necessarily because you want to, but you have to. That's at least how I interpret it. And then privilege is something you have, like you're able to do, and you want to do. Like, you know, when people write in their LinkedIn post, it was, I had the privilege to attend, blah, 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 you know?
That's how you know you got 500 connections.
No, like my
She's
LinkedIn
got 500
game.
Plus.
My LinkedIn game. You know me.
Hey.
I'm gonna make a LinkedIn post when this episode comes out. Go like and follow, please.
I will I will comment, being like, I had the privilege. Talk to you.
No, so I think having a duty and having a privilege is different. I would say I definitely had the privilege and utmost joy to be able to do this stuff. And, you know, things work differently for different people. For me, I'm fueled because I genuinely love doing it. But if, you know, getting you into volunteering, you need someone to be like, oh, like, don't you think you're privileged or whatnot? And then you think about that and you're like, oh, maybe I am. Now I have a duty to help. That works for you, you know? I do think that you should be doing something to help others. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be humanitarian volunteer work, but it could be small, like, you know, like helping students younger than you and whatnot, or like giving advice to whoever. There is definitely a duty to help people in general, but specifically for humanitarian work, whatever gets you doing it, gets you doing it, you know? Like, I don't think I would ever tell someone you should not do it. There's a difference between duty and privilege, and sure, we do have a duty to help others, but we also have the utmost privilege to be able to be in a position where we can help, and the joy to be able to help these people is like insurmountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like thinking of it as a duty or like a responsibility that you have to do will like tarnish your action. You just like feel like you're forced upon it, but it should be like your will, your desire.
Exactly. Like, because if you're like, oh, you have to do this, who wants to do what it's like when parents tell their kids like, you have to do this, and then they obviously go break the rules, you know? Mm-hmm. Don't do drugs, and the kids go do drugs, you know, like kind of thing. Not that I do drugs, like just for clarification. but yeah. Like, you know, like that principle, like don't sneak out at night, it makes you want to sneak out at night. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have to do this will make you probably like feel a little bit of resentment towards it. I think find the joy. And I think an easy way to do that is finding some sort of volunteering where you are already interested in. So like, for example, if you like crafts, you know, like there's all kinds of crafting organizations where you make crafts and little cards that are cute for like elderly homes, retirement homes, you know, kids, right, whatnot. That's a great way if you like crafting, or if you like teaching like I do, like, you know, like doing something like this, or even within smaller communities. Or if you love sports, then running some sort of sports initiative, like finding something that you like excites you and turning that into a way to help people, I think is the smartest way to do humanitarian work.
Yeah, it's like using your skills to something that you're passionate about already.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I know you're passionate about law, but I do know that, like, law is scary, man. Law is competitive. It's a LSAT prep, we'll pray for. But yeah, it's like a competitive, it's demanding. It's like, and also law as a profession is very, like, focused on your personal success. You're, like, very self-focused profession, right? How do you protect your commitment to service and to humanitarian action in a profession that's easily swept up in prestige and like personal success?
Now, mind you, I haven't reached that point yet. So I guess stay updated to see if I become, like, you know, one of those, like, domineering corporate lawyers. But, no, like, imagine, like, that does happen someday. I would hope it doesn't. But I think, like, even in corporate law, there's always opportunities for you to do pro bono work. You can do, like, you know, here and there, you know, like, do a little case for someone who needs it free of charge, whatnot.
Yeah, small
I think
businesses
that's an easy
and
way.
stuff.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or even if you're, like, in, like, I don't know, like, divorce law, you know, something like that for, like, you know, people who can't necessarily afford your services. There's all kinds of stuff like that within the profession. And then, obviously, becoming a lawyer doesn't mean you lose your life. I mean, mind you, some of them have longer work hours than the others, so you lose a little bit of your life there. But, you know, like, you can, like, try to find time to, you know, like, every once in a while stop by the soup kitchen, you know, stop by your favorite charity, you know, like, on your break, you know, like, make some cards or whatnot. I don't know. Maybe
Cute.
when I'm 40 years old, I will still like making cards, and I'll still do that in my little law office, hopefully.
Cute. Have a little card making station in your law office.
Imagine
That's
with
cute.
like a bunch of tapes and stuff.
Ah,
It'll be really
like
cute.
little washi tapes.
Yeah, but no, that's genuinely like I think, yes, law is a profession that is very self-centered. To a certain extent, but think about it is a service profession. You are working for other people. Whether the other people are necessarily in need versus in need for a legal service is like, you know, like depends on the type of law. But ultimately, you are helping people, technically. So then we go back to what I said about intentions. If you're intending to do something for the right reasons, you know, like, I don't know, I'm going to do this corporate law case because this will, I don't know, like, even if it's a bad case, you know, this will make money for my family or whatnot, and then I can donate some of that, you know, like, that's intentions you can do, even if it's a case you don't necessarily want, isn't necessarily helping people. Or if it's like, oh, I'm going to help this couple sort it out through this divorce court. I don't know that divorce lawyers make that kind of intention, but let's say they do. Again, I'm not a lawyer. But
we must proceed. We are not lawyers.
Yes.
Prelude.
Don't sue us.
Please, we're just students.
But no, that's how I would view it. I think no matter what your profession is, even if it isn't inside law, isn't in the service sector, whatnot, you can always find a way to help someone, to volunteer, to incorporate humanitarian work.
Yeah, it's always possible. You can make time and even like use the service that you already are able to provide in order to like act on your passion for humanitarian action, right? So yeah, you have held multiple leadership roles in Women in Law Association in the past. I know that you were what were you before being co-president?
I was events coordinator, then VP events, and then co-president.
My goodness, so you went up the ranks. Good
Yeah.
job, man. So how did your humanitarian experience influence how you lead, like how you do your leadership roles?
I mean, I think for one thing, having empathy for others, you know, you never know what people are going through type thing. But then also, like, in the events we do a lot of initiatives that do help people. Like, for example, we did, like, a clothing drive last year to raise money, raise clothes for a shelter. Or we raise money for various initiatives, like, you know, like Purple Shirt Day, which was domestic abuse, I believe. We raised a lot of money for that to a specific charity and whatnot. I think part of being, you know, a woman of color and whatnot, you realize just how much privilege you have being in your position and how you can help not only your own people, but anyone else who doesn't have that privilege, no matter where you are. So I'm literally just a university student in a club, but like, you know, I can do things all the time that, you know, here and there, you know, like I had the opportunity to donate a bunch this month, probably a lot. I'm not going to say the amount because I'm saving that for myself.
Yeah.
But, you know, donating here and there, it adds up, you know, like, and it doesn't matter how much you donate at the end of the day. The fact that you are donating in itself is an achievement, you know?
It is, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that, like, how was your move from events coordinator to co-president? How did that feel?
I mean, to be fair, I was only events coordinator for like a couple weeks, and then I got promoted to.
Really?
Yeah.
You were that good?
No, it's because at the time I joined WILA when it was founded.
Oh, no way.
So yeah, it was no VPs at the time. It was just a bunch of coordinators in a department. and they realized, oh, we should probably have a VP.
leader,
So then we like submitted applications for VP, and I got it.
That's sick.
So then,
Wow.
yeah, I was hired as an event coordinator.
So
like that's
you
what
were
my interview.
one of the founders.
Oh, I don't know how I would say all that, but
Oh, okay. You were one of the
founding members.
founding members.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so maybe from VP events to president, there's a lot more. I mean, a lot more to worry about.
Oh, yeah.
Managing all the departments. I low key, not to discourage anyone from becoming like a president, but I low key missed my VP events era because it was like focusing on the events, whatnot. And that was a lot more in your control, whereas president, there's a lot happening. But then it's
Yeah.
like channeling that patience. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff isn't that big of a deal, first world problems.
Exactly.
And stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh my goodness. How do you like manage multiple departments? Like, how does that, especially, I'm sure being co-president helps a lot.
Yeah, and having good VPs, having good
Mhm.
people in leadership, even tying back to every place I volunteered at, they always had good leadership behind it and
Mhm.
rankings of some sort and proper initiation and whatnot. Even in WILA, we implement that, like, with our contracts and whatnot. But I would, there are a lot of scam charities out there, so I would always make sure that you're volunteering for someone who is accredited, whatnot. For me, they made me take a bunch of trainings on child safeguarding, whatnot, to like make sure that I was appropriate to work for kids. They did a police background check and everything,
That's good.
because you are working with vulnerable communities outside of just the kids, like we met like a bunch of, oh, I have another story.
Oh,
Yeah. So that reminded me. So during one of the days of camp, we made a bunch of, like food and hygiene kits, and we were distributing them. And a couple of them came to pick it up, but we carried them to some of the houses of people who couldn't physically come in person to pick it up. And the house that we went to was this elderly lady, and she looked so happy. I can't tell you how happy she seemed to see us. Like, I guess she doesn't talk to a lot of people, like, poor lady, because like not in a mean, like in a genuine, like, she must be lonely because she came and she was so excited to pour us juice, and you feel like you're not supposed to like deny the juice because she's pouring it for you, but you're not supposed to take more because she's obviously like in a like sadder, like less fortunate situation if she's requiring food and hygiene kits. So you take the juice and she's offering us more and then whatnot. She's like, oh, I'm so happy to see people, where are you from? Canada, whatnot. And again, she speaks Bosnian, so we had a translator with us. But she was just telling us about like how happy she was to see us, and then talked about how her husband and her kid had died in the war. And so that's why she was living alone in her apartment. It took her, I think she said like 30 years or 20, it was incredible. Maybe it was 10 years. It was an incredible amount of time to find her husband's body. She didn't know where her husband's body was after the war. It took like that long to find out where he was. And she was telling us about her kid, and she didn't know where he ended up and whatnot. And it was truly a sad situation. But you would not tell because like she was saying it sadly again, like, and we're understanding this through a translator. So it obviously couldn't capture all the emotion, but she was still like she was like, oh, would you like more juice, whatnot, and showing us pictures and whatnot. And man, she was such a sweet lady to the point that even after we left, like it was an apartment building and we're walking this way and her balcony was on the side facing us, and we turned around and looked back and she was waving from like the 9th floor or something like that, waving on the balcony, and watched us leave all the way.
Make sure you guys were safe.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
like,
so cute.
Man, like I also hope she's doing okay,
She's
because
doing okay.
like everyone you meet there like truly has like unbreakable perseverance and spirit to the point it inspires. Sorry, I'm fixing my posture. Side note. Side note.
I noticed it as well, and I started fixing mine.
No, it's because out of mood someone pointed out my posture, and now I'm very insecure about my posture.
Oh my goodness. We look really serious right now. You're looking good.
There we go. Very lawyery.
Yeah.
But anyways, like they all have such great perseverance. Like you genuinely wonder, how do people go through all of this and still continue? And mind you, like, this is still, again, like, not in current war times. Like, imagine people currently in, like, conflict-ridden regions, you know, like, struggling with food, water, like, amputations, whatnot. And they're still persevering. It genuinely boggles me. And not in the sense that I'm like, I can't believe they do that in, like, a condescending way, but in a, I can't believe they do that. In comparison, do not do enough. You know, like, I feel like even though I've done all of this, in comparison to what they're doing on the day-to-day life just to exist and survive, I have it so lucky. I should be doing more. And this is not in the duty sense, but in the privilege. I want to have the privilege to work with more people and even bring a little bit of joy in the life. I know, like, it's not like, well, I mean, our funds did fund the hygiene kits and food, but, like, you know, that only lasts so long. I hope I at least brought a little bit of joy into that woman's life, you know? And,
sure
you know, a little bit of company, you know? Like, everyone needs human company and, you know, like, we are social beings as a society,
humans,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
we need each other.
No, definitely.
Hope
Like,
she's doing well.
yeah, no, me too.
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, man. I'm trying to see, like, we're almost at the end of the questions, right?
We are.
So I'm trying to think of any other stories I can add on really quickly. Oh, man. The kids would hold my arms whenever they would walk somewhere to make sure I didn't fall.
Oh, really?
They would walk with me, even, like, to the washroom, and we were, like, our classroom was across the washroom, so it was not a far walk. For the boys' washroom, you had to go downstairs, I believe, but they, like, just would hold my hand and, like, you know, like, go with me.
Oh, so cute.
Or even, like, with the food, you would eat at the table, and I would eat, and some of the volunteers ate with the other volunteers, but I just chose to eat with the kids, you know, like, you know, I only had so much time with them.
Yeah, you might as well spend time with them.
Exactly.
That's
So
sweet.
I would eat with them, and I would be asking about their food, and then they would ask about mine, and then sometimes I would have a different meal because I have dietary restrictions, you know, like I can't have tomato and whatnot. So, you know, when we had pizza that day, Demir, his favorite food is pizza, so he's so happy to have pizza. And they made me a personal pizza without tomato, so it's like crust and cheese? Right?
Yum.
And so they were like looking, and Demir was so curious. He was like, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's my pizza. You know, I can't have tomato, whatnot." Like, I don't think I said that. I think I said, "Oh, it's my special pizza." And then I had like a full pizza, so I was like, "Oh, do you want to try?" Like, you know, like I had so much anyways. And so he took it, and then he ate it, and he was like, "Not as good as mine."
Oh, exposed.
Oh man.
Cute.
Or like I would take pictures of random things. Oh, I went shopping. Like with the money we raised for them, we took them shopping, and we took them.
Spree.
Yeah, took them to a clothing store, and they had something like 110 Bosnian dollars to spend on each one of them to get clothes.
Fun.
And then once they had all the clothes that the people sent like on the list, then they could get like extra fun stuff. And so I had two kids to shop with, Amina and Janita. And they were so cute, and we were just shopping, and we were looking at clothes and whatnot, and they thought it was so funny every time we passed by baby clothes to hold it up to me and be like, "This is for you." So and I will put the images on the screen, but there's a Spider-Man swimsuit they gave to me, and it's like a little boy swimsuit, and I'm like, "This is for you." So we took a selfie with it, and a little Hello Kitty dress. "This is for you." And then we took a selfie all wearing hats and whatnot. And then even like one of them had a phone and one didn't, because obviously different situations. I think one had their mom and one didn't. So on her phone, she was taking mirror selfies. On my phone, we were taking mirror selfies.
Like hanging out at the
Yeah,
mall.
like we were like, I did like a little vlog video, and maybe we can insert it at the end.
Insert
you
clip.
know, like insert clip. Hey guys, I'm here with Amina and Janita. Say hi.
Hi.
I'm gonna miss you guys so much. You're gonna miss me?
Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite thing that we did together? Everything? Everything?
Yeah.
I love you guys.
And
I'm gonna miss you guys. I'm gonna cry. My favorite. But shopping with them was genuinely so much fun. And then they had like a fun time after, because we were allowed to shop after, like picking clothes for me and choosing the clothes and whatnot. So genuinely, that was one of my happiest experiences, just shopping with those two. And you saw the other kids too, and getting happy that, you know, like they could get like a little toy car at the end with their clothes or whatnot. Or I think one of them got like a nice apron with bows on it, and she was so happy. She was like, I'm gonna cook with my mom now.
Oh, that's so cute.
So no, they were genuinely like so cute. Like, I really hope I get to meet them
I
again.
hope so too.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I'm sure it'll happen.
Are there any more questions?
We have 2 more questions.
slay.
Yeah. I do have a question because, like, I mean, the legal system is a system still,
Yeah.
right? And so every system, like, is not every system, but I mean, technically, a lot of systems are built in inequality and perpetuates inequality,
Yeah.
right? How can future lawyers like you work inside of a system like that without being absorbed?
I think, again, it comes down to maintaining your intentions and realizing why you're doing what you're doing. If you're doing what you're doing for the money, okay, acknowledge that, and then realize, okay, I may get a lot of money, let me donate some of it. If you're doing what you're doing for personal fulfillment, make sure you don't get yourself caught up in like the legal politics within the system and, you know, like within even your own firm and whatnot. And again, I can't speak for lawyers because I'm not a lawyer.
Lawyers.
But I think what I aim to do is kind of keep my character and intentions and morals while still pursuing law. You know, and I know that's a difficult ask, and real lawyers watching this may be like, oh, Maleeha, you're a little bit, you know, optimistic or whatnot, but at least I can try.
Yeah.
You know, and even if you fail sometimes, sure, a failure is a failure, but the fact that you tried says something enough. Keeping your intentions pure, keeping your morals intact. At the end of the day, if I can keep all of that, then I can sleep at night happily knowing I did what I did within the means I want to.
Yeah, like you did what you did in your principles, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So genuinely, I think like maintaining those intentions, knowing what you came to do, and then also sprinkling in things that bring you joy, things that bring other joy. It doesn't have to all be about law. It's obviously you're going to be a lawyer. A lot of it's going to be about law. Don't, like, mind you. But, like, you know, like, for example, if I can, you know, like, volunteer on my Saturday evening, you know, where I know I have long hours, but soup kitchen's open pretty late, and maybe from 8 to 10 I can volunteer there and hand out, you know, whatever. That's still a form of volunteering, maintaining my values, not necessarily in a legal system, which might not, like, give me opportunities to do it within it. But at least outside, I'm maintaining my values and knowing that while I practice law, I'm practicing law, I'm going to do it within my morals.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always it's possible. As long as you have that intention, it's definitely possible.
No, definitely.
Do you have any other funny stories about Bosnia
Let me
that
think.
you'd like to share?
There were all so many cats. I loved the cats.
Oh my,
So
I've heard that
many.
there's a lot of cats there.
No,
oh my
there are
goodness.
so many cats.
You should show pictures, please.
Yeah, I will show pictures actually. I have
Thank
pictures.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Or whatnot.
Are you
And then-
allergic?
No,
Lucky.
thank goodness. But I don't have a cat because my brother has a leopard gecko and he's like, oh, a cat's gonna eat it, whatnot.
Okay.
And that's my imitation of his voice. Maybe he'll watch this, you know. Cat's gonna eat it.
Cat's gonna eat it. Ugh. Just get a cat, bro.
I want to so bad. But anyways, I was really appreciating the cats there, and whatnot. I made so many crafts with them. Like we did so many. Like we made little keychain art, which I'll put a picture on the screen. Not me, the editor. Shout out the editor.
Shout out editor.
Editor's name here. But we made like, you know, like I made a cinnamon roll one. There's a Miffy one. There was all
Cute.
kinds, and the kids were making, you know, like all kinds of. You could make your own drawing, and then it made it into like a plastic keychain.
Is it like the shrinky?
Yeah.
Oh, I know those. Oh, those are so fun.
So we made those and whatnot. And then we had one activity that was building a tower. And it was like you were supposed to compete with the other teams who could build the tallest tower. And so we're really focused. Like, and you all get the same amount of materials. Really focused in building this tower. Like the kids were adding engineering ingenuity and like
Ooh.
whatnot, like balancing water in cups and like stacking and then making like repetitive structures to stack it tall. And then at the top, like the CN Tower, there was like a sticky up thing.
Oh my goodness.
So it could go
For
straight up,
Toronto.
you know? So we were making it and we took it, like we spent hours on that. Come to find out, the other teams did not do that. They spent a couple minutes, made a tower and then knocked it down. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
I was like,
where's the passion?
And our kids were so excited. They were like, oh, did we win? Did we win? And we were like, oh, we're finding out. And we didn't know how to tell them. No one else made it.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
think one other group just didn't cover it. So we made sure that they did it. And we had ours taller than them. So we won.
Good job.
We won. That was us.
Architecture. Shout
Or
out.
we made volcanoes too. And I think the volunteers were more excited about the volcanoes.
It's mad fun. Is it baking soda? And,
Yeah. And we had it colored, and then we made the volcano with clay and whatnot. And
Dude,
but we
that's
were
so
much more
sick.
excited about the volcano than the kids were. The kids would like the drawing part, like drawing on our little poster board. Oh, all the other teams were supposed to make team names. And come the final day, you're supposed to announce your team name and do a team cheer, right? Which you were supposed to make on the first day. And on the first day, all the kids in my group were really shy. And so no one wanted to contribute. So our name ended up being Team 3.
Creative.
Because we were Team 3.
Okay. Very creative.
And everyone else had stomping dolphins or random names or whatnot, or someone had a SpongeBob reference. I don't know, bro. There were because they were different age groups. There were kids as young as 4 or 5, and kids as old as one of the kids were 17, and we had a volunteer 18 in that group. So it was literally you're 1 year older.
1 year older. Just
So, but my group was from ages 8 to 12, kind of. And I guess my group was just really shy. So we come the final day, and everyone's doing their fancy cheers, whatnot, with their names, and we're Team 3, Team 3.
Oh. Yo, the effort, that's all that matters.
I felt
right?
so embarrassed up there, but obviously the kids were very excited. So we were stomping and clapping, saying Team 3, and I was like, okay, you know what? As long as they're happy,
Yo,
we made it, I guess.
It's a thought that counts. You know what? They got there at the end of it.
No,
That's so
genuinely,
funny.
it's I'll put a poster. I think I have a picture of the poster up.
This
too.
is such a hard episode for the editor. Oh my god.
R.I.P. the editor. Shout out whoever it is.
Shout out editor.
You know,
oh my
Anita,
goodness.
Susu,
Whichever
Macy,
one of you.
someone.
All power to you.
Literally,
Sorry.
but no, it was so funny.
Yeah, it seems like you had a great experience.
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 10 days, but
10
the camp was
days.
4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the camp, the kids all cried. I had to hold my tears in, and then when they left, I cried.
Goodness.
Yeah.
It was like a movie scene. I had to turn around. Oh my
You know,
goodness.
as soon as I saw them descend down the staircase, I was crying.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm sure it was a very defining moment for you. Do you have
Definitely.
any plans of future humanitarian action?
I want to do it again. I didn't
Oh.
sign up for it this year because I'm still concussed, so I was like, that low key might not work
Understandable.
out. And
Uh-huh.
also LSAT studying, So
Priorities.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I have to do that.
Unfortunately.
But in the future, I hope to go to one of the other countries, and they have a bunch of countries like Malaysia, Morocco, Turkey, whatever. One of them. I'd love to go.
Make a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm glad you have a
exactly.
plan. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. So, if we had a time machine 10 years in the future and we revisit this conversation, how would you hope to see humanitarian and legal work being transformed or disrupted?
I would love for it to be more normalized.
Mhm.
You see it occasionally, in LinkedIn posts or whatnot. And I think like lawyers that are well adjusted, in their 50s or whatnot, are doing a lot of pro bono work. But at least law students and pre-law students and young lawyers, I don't think it's as normalized. And yes, it's important to grind and lock in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying ignore your studies or whatnot.
The lock-in
Studies
is real.
important, whatever.
Mhm.
But find time for these things. If you can spend an hour scrolling on TikTok, you can spend an hour tutoring some kid in grade 4 math. I suck at math, and I was tutoring him in grade 4 math. I can do grade 4 math,
Right.
adding, subtracting, whatnot,
yeah.
So I think I would love for it to become more normalized, and more opportunities, more opportunities for people to get involved both in Canada and outside. I founded Bearing Witness, which is not necessarily a humanitarian, but more of a raising awareness initiative, where I write a bunch of research papers on various genocides and issues, etc., and publish them on a website so you can read and learn a lot more, because I realized how many people didn't learn about the Bosnian War when I came back and was telling people what was happening. So I was like, oh, that's a great way. So I do have one on Bosnia on my site, so go check that out.
Description. I hope we can do a little corner thing.
That
That'd
would be so
sick.
cool.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
But that, and I did one on Sudan, and I plan to do more. I've just been a little busy on LSATs, but that's a way I found to kind of incorporate that into everyday life. And I think, you know, like there's a lot of ways where you can contribute, like helping out even in the smallest sense. Like you see someone needing a door opened, you know, like opening
the
that.
door.
You know, like a
Yeah.
lot of these things are like, you know, like helping others out. And while it might not be humanitarian, it is at the end of the day the same principle, helping others because you can.
For humanity.
Exactly.
Humanity.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
Why is my hand so pale?
For humanity. Whoa. Why am I red?
Why am I
Why am
paler
I
than you
red?
in my hand?
I think it's just I've been just like sitting on my
Oh
hand.
no, it's
I
the
think.
light. It's
Oh.
Look here, it's better.
Ah, wow.
Okay.
We're learning. Goodness, finally. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, before you wrap it up, do you have any other stories, any other notes that you wanted to say that you didn't have a chance to
I think I covered most of them.
cover most of
If
it?
I think of any, you know, like I'll make them put it in the
You
description.
can interrupt me. Yeah. You can do a little like video clip at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this. Yeah. Thank you so much, Maleeha, for
Of
joining us
course.
today. And thank you for our viewers and listeners at home for tuning in. Please stay tuned for other episodes. Bye.
Bye.